Anybody who's lived through a hurricane would know that you don't play with the preparedness aspect of it. Um, a hurricane is literally one of the most destabilizing experiences any human being can have, because everything that you have today, you can literally lose tomorrow. And your first responsibility is to save your life, then to save those around you for whom you have responsibility, save your property as far as possible, and then to be able to survive the aftermath of a hurricane, which can be as grueling as the event itself. I learned this at a very early age. I was in Jamaica, ironically, for Hurricane Gilbert. And in those days, many of the Jamaicans did not believe that a hurricane was coming, because one had not hit Jamaica since the 1960s, more than 20 years before. And the persons that I was staying, ironically, it was my first trip to that country, and nobody prepared for it. The trouble came the day after, when literally there was no water, there was little food left in people's houses because people had not bought. It was the end of a weekend. And I remember standing up on Hope Road for 3-4 hours, literally in a long line, because each one of us had literally to benefit from the quota of goods that they were selling. And all they would give us was some batteries, some candles, and some sweet biscuits. We then had to move to some other friends who we knew that they had left the country. The roof had blown off. We went into the house. We had to take the tin goods to get food for the rest of the week. Eventually, the day that I left Jamaica, 4 or 5 days later, was the first day that we were able to get gasoline and diesel, literally. And you had to wait for 2.5 hours that morning in a long queue to be able to get it. So if you understand what a hurricane brings, you don't play with a hurricane. And you make sure that however much you have to prepare for it, however much you didn't feel that you wanted to do it, you do it. And the corned beef and the tuna and all of the packed goods, they don't spoil. The water, they don't spoil. You use them at the end of the hurricane season, so your money has not been wasted. Similarly, your medication, particularly if you are an older person or if you're suffering from chronic diseases, make sure that you have enough medication in your possession in the household. Because if the hurricane does hit, believe you me, your access to food, medication, and all of the other critical things that you need will not be there. The other problem immediately after a hurricane is connectivity and transport. There's no guarantee that if you are living in the country or even parts of town with all the trees that we have across Bridgetown, that you'll be able to easily move to where you need to move. And equally, remember that because national security is an imperative, there is no guarantee that you'll be able to do so without curfews being in place. So these are all of the things that require you to plan and plan. There was Dame Billy used to tell us all the time, as young people in public life, have plan A, plan B, and plan C. Well, I tell you, have plan A, B, C, D, and E. And we need to know who are the people in the communities that we are going for, because their houses cannot withstand a hurricane, where we are carrying them, whether we're carrying them in by us or if we're carrying them to a shelter. Make sure that when they go, they have the identity documents, make sure that they have the prescriptions, make sure that you have enough food to carry you and cover them for a few days. And then we also need to know that for those whose houses may be strong enough to withstand a hurricane, that we go and check on them immediately after the all clear is given, so as to make sure that they have survived and that they are not in need of anything that they can't for themselves do. We are truly grateful for those Barbadians who want to agree to help us man the country once a hurricane is coming. Somebody has to do it, and we accept that as you do it, that you are leaving behind your family and your friends and your home. And we are eternally grateful for that sacrifice that you are making. Make sure that before you leave your home, that you've left them in good position and that they themselves are capable of being taken care of. Because the last thing that we need is for you to be worried about your own family and your own circumstances as you go to help others. Secondly, make sure that you yourself are adequately equipped with your soda bix and your medication and all of the things that you need to survive at a personal level. As they tell you on a plane, if you don't take care and ensure your own individual survival, you can't help the other people that you're supposed to help. And finally, make sure that you do it with a cheerful spirit. A lot of people on that day will be anxious. A lot of people may even be very, very upset because of what they've lost. And more than anything else, people need a smile and a shoulder to hold on to as they meander and navigate through what is potentially the most disruptive incident in their lives. But I know we can do it together. So let's do it.